Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are well. Welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. I hope we're well. Hope we're all having a good day, whatever it is that we're up to today. Yeah, got some really good stuff to talk about today. Got this whole Conor Gallagher, Villa, I guess you could throw Spurs in there, kind of trifecta. So we're talking about that. We're talking about the guys that have left the club. And we've got a little bit more to talk about as well as that. So, yeah, hope we're all well. Hope we're all looking after ourselves. Morning, Mr. Van Gogh. How are we? Kookaburra, how are we, mate? If we buy Gallagher first, Chelsea could use that money for Eze. Let's get Eze first and then think about Gallagher afterwards. Mate, they just need money for FFP. That's all they care about. They're not caring about buying anyone just yet. Chelsea need to sell before they buy. By getting Gallagher, we are letting them bid for Eze. I'm not too worried about that. Probably more Elise if out of the two Palace players. So, yeah, we'll be talking about we'll be talking about a little bit, I guess, about Eze. It's on the cusp and the mind of everyone. But yeah, we'll jump in with Gallagher. Hello, mate. Sofian, how are we, mate? You're right. I'm very well. I am very well. I'm, not long home from the gym and showered, but I'm pretty happy. Right, let's talk about some news. So, obviously, last night it said that Aston Villa had made an approach to sign Conor Gallagher. Right, everyone on agreement on that front, right? Okay, good. So, Graham Bailey put out that Conor Gallagher is set to wait to the end of June before making a firm decision on his future. Aston Villa are pushing hard and Tottenham remain keen. Gallagher's preference is to remain at Chelsea and he is hoping they offer him a new deal. That Chelsea right now are probably sitting there going, oh my God, please, can you go away? And it's not because they don't rate him as a player. They just go, we are so screwed if you do not leave. And so, yeah, obviously he's a Chelsea boy. The way I look at it, he's a Chelsea boy. He wants to stay at Chelsea, but Chelsea are also like, we don't care. We just need you to go, mate, because we need that money. Otherwise, we're in the mud. They need him gone basically by June 30th. So we are June 5th right now, right? So if they need him gone basically in the next, let's call it 3 weeks, and they've got obviously the Euros starting in 9 days. You know what I mean? They're probably sitting there going, we're up against the clock. And obviously they signed Tosin Adarabioyo, which I think will mean they will move off of Trevor Chalobah, which obviously that is FFP profit. I think they want like 20-25 million. I probably expect to be talking about him at some point in the next couple of weeks because Spurs will be linked there some reason. Morning, Daniel, mate. Hope you're okay. Sofian said, this is who I think will get the summer. El Nesri, Eze, Gallagher, Edison, and Murillo. It's an interesting summer, that. Your attacker makes me a little bit worried, though. Afternoon, Hogan, mate. How are we? We need signings. I assume, Clement, you mean ASAP. But, yeah, to a degree. I agree. So, with that being said, and let's take that article, maybe not as such a pinch of salt, but let's take that article with the idea of, he wants to take his time. There is other things that I've found. That sounded weird. I don't know why I was like, oh, I found more. I've dug up some dirt. So Carve Solical from Sky Sports News said that Tottenham are expected to make a bid for Conor Gallagher. Chelsea value him. Now listen in, lads. Value him upwards of 50 million. And if you weren't sure that was a genuine thing from Carve, there is more. Fabrizio Romano, the man that has all the knowledge of the world of transfers, evidently. Chelsea are prepared to ask for a fee in excess of 50 million for Conor Gallagher this summer. After the Mason Mount deal last summer, Chelsea see Gallagher in a similar position with Aston Villa and Tottenham, and one club from abroad keen on signing him. No negotiations taking place yet. Just going to say this now. If they want 50 and up, because I think Mason Mount's deal ended up being like 60 odd million or whatever. If they want that, enjoy your points deductions next year, lads. I hope you look after yourselves with it, because I wouldn't want Spurs to go anywhere near 50 million for him. I didn't want Spurs to go near 50 million for him last summer when he actually had 2 years left on his contract. I was like 40 million, and I'm not mucking around with anything more, because the way I look at it, look how Mason Mount's done this season. He's been fantastic. Mason Mount's on for the Ballon d'Or. Mason Mount's played about 30 minutes of football, and it cost Man United 60 odd million. I'm not touching that with a 20-foot pole. I'm looking at that deal as the reason as to why I would not touch that sort of figure with a 20-foot pole. So look, I really hope they enjoy that points deduction, because I don't even think Villa want to do that, because Villa have their own financial situation. I don't think they're going to go anywhere near that. The only way Villa go near that is if Chelsea are buying, is it John Duran, their young striker? Unless they're buying him for 20 odd million. So no, I'm not touching it with 20-foot ball. I don't know what you guys think. I know you'll tell me now. I miss him. Hold on, does Gallagher now want to join us? I think Gallagher just wants to take his time. Takes his time. EZ. Enesri is very good. I think he'll thrive under Ange. I think a lot of strikers thrive under Ange. I just want to make sure we get the right one. I'd like to get Eze, obviously. Jimenez, Edison, and a centre back that can play fullback. It's a decent list. Those loose Alexander Isaac links must be as loose as they come. He himself said today has no intention of leaving, loves his life. Yeah, exactly, listen, mate. He was never going to be going, and nor would we be going for him. Like, it's going to cost 150 odd million. Spurs weren't going to touch that with a 20-foot pole. So it's not really shocking. Let me just double check something, and then I'll continue on with your comments. Okay. Daniel, window doesn't open until the 30th of June. I'm sure we'll get a couple in the first week of July. Daniel, it opens in about 9 days. It's the 14th, I believe. Someone tell me that I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the 14th of June it opens. But a lot of contracts finish on the 30th of June. Gallagher isn't bad, but getting him should not prevent us getting from Eze. I don't think it would prevent us, Van Gogh, mate. I don't think it would. I wouldn't pay 50 million upwards for Gallagher. Their problem being in financial troubles. We can do better for a better price. Exactly. Spot on. I agree with you, Wayne, mate. Spot on. 30 to 45 is what Gallagher is worth. 50 million is ridiculous. I think 30 to 35 is what I would be. Gallagher, Eze, and Tony would be nice. Rec wouldn't be too bad. Do you think the Onana deal has legs? Well, Everton have a situation where they need to move off of players because of financial fair play as well. So the idea that Onana might have legs to leave, yeah. Window's open on the 14th. Yeah, that's all right, Daniel, mate. To be honest, I normally look at it as July 1st is when the window opens normally anyway. So don't worry, mate. Don't worry. Your ball knowledge is still better than mine. And obviously, by the way, if you are watching this and you're not watching this live, you can still comment and things. I'll still respond. You know me. All right. And yeah, drop a like and subscribe and follow and all that jazz. All right. But anyway, there is that on the Gallagher front. What else? Oh, so what else we got? We need to spend some money on our homegrown players. We just lost 2. I'm coming to it. Give me a second. What about Szymanski? He's pretty neat. It's gone quiet, to be honest. It's gone quiet. A lot of the transfers will happen after the Euros. Some of the transfers happen within the Euros, to be honest. Some do. Where Burval joining, what's his best position? Burval, I would say, is somewhere between the 8 and 10 role, but also can masquerade as a 6 as well. I'd say 8 and 10 is better than he is 6, but he can play all over the midfield. So let's talk about the lads that have left. So we've got obviously a situation this summer where, and I'm going to go through a bit of a list of who I think should be going, or at least has a really good chance of going, right? But we made a real big dent into that list. So it was directly from Spurs themselves. We can confirm the departures of Japhet Tanganga, Ryan Sessegnon, Eric Dyer, and Ivan Perisic following the conclusion of their contracts. We already knew Sessegnon was going, right? So that's already one that we knew. Perisic, we knew that was the end of his contract. He was pretty much done, right? Dyer, I think he's been picked up permanently by Bayern. I think Spurs might have gotten a few quid out of that, but nothing crazy. And Tanganga was one that I think everyone maybe expected them to extend for another year, but then, he was going to be off to Millwall. I did a bit of digging on it, and look, these figures will be not skewed, but these figures will be kind of a rough estimate as to what I think wages wise we would have saved. We seem to be going for a lot of homegrown talent. Does that seem like we are saying Skip Parrott? I'm going to come to Parrott in a second, Chris. But Skip does have an interest in wanting to leave to get regular game time, if that makes sense. Isn't it obvious that Gallagher has no intention of joining a rival London club? I don't think it's that, mate. I just think he wants to take his time. And actually, I think he wants to pressure Chelsea a little bit. I put in a bid for Amrabat and test the waters. He'd do well for us. As long as that bid is worth, a 20 quid note, fine. But I wasn't blown away with what he did at United this year. Wreck just straight in with the crazy. Right, we'll let you two have that one out, shall we? Right, let's talk about these wages, right? So I looked at, sort of did a bit of a Google jump and dump and all those things. And look, it's not going to be exact, but it'll be a ballpark. We had Tanganga on 25 grand a week. Cess was on 55. Perisic was on 180. And Dyer was on about 100. That works out to 360 grand a week. You times that by 4, because obviously 4 weeks in a month. It's 1.44 million pounds. And then over a whole year, Spurs would save 17.28 million. That is ridiculous money that they save. Now, Perisic obviously was on big money because he was a free agent signing, so I wasn't bothered about the wage that he was on. Sessegnon did kind of confuse me a little bit. Dyer, I think that is just kind of a longevity over time. He obviously had increments going up and up and up. But yeah, 17.28 million save straight away. That's lovely. It's lovely. Now, what you do with that, is another question. They're losing those 4. Obviously, you're losing, home. Not we also talk about homegrown, but also academy trained. Japhet Tanganga was one of those. We lose Session, which is homegrown. Dyer's homegrown. Perisic obviously might not be homegrown. I don't know if you know that. But the thing is, we lose 3 there. Obviously, we knew we were losing Dyer in January. Session, I think, played 1 game this season. Tanganga obviously was in Augsburg and then joined Millwall. Looking at that and looking at the situation, they're obviously going to be having a lot of their sort of homegrown players through their youth team, your Donnellys and so on. I also think, he's not homegrown, is he? Dyer's not. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. But regardless, my point is still going to be proven on this. Moving off of these guys, it does put a lot more pressure on the whole idea of, we need to get homegrown. Spurs are going to get homegrown. They are. They're going to be buying probably a couple of homegrown players. Now, obviously, when we talk about players like Marcus Edwards, obviously that's academy. We talk about Kyle Walker-Peters, that's academy. I don't think we're going for Walker-Peters. If we're going for either one of those two, it'll be Edwards. But we're not going to go for Walker-Peters because I think unless he really wants to move, Southampton are going to demand 30 million. They want his release clause, which I wouldn't want to do. In terms of the other homegrowns, look, we there's a reason why we link with Lloyd Kelly. There's a reason why we link Tosin Adarabioyo. There's a reason we're linked with Gallagher. It's these players that do. Morgan Gibbs-White. I expect to have some more links over Morgan Gibbs-White soon. I'm trying to think of who else we've been linked to. I mean, Solanke, Tony. You see why we're still heavily linked with Tony? You can see why. How many games did Cess actually play for us over the 5 years? I couldn't tell you. I reckon it's more than you think, but not as much as you think, if you know what I mean. I think everyone kind of assumes he plays like 3 games a year. He played more than that, but I don't think it's as much as you think. We definitely need a striker. Has to be an absolute priority. I'd stump up the cash for Eze. Well, I hope they do stump up the cash for Eze. In terms of strikers, we will be getting one, and I expect the striker as a sort of deal to be one thing that they're prioritizing. We do need a quality 6. Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. What about Bruno? Isn't he keen on a move from... No, he wants to stay at United, and he's also he's on crazy money, and I just don't like players throwing themselves around on the floor like they've been shot. Edwards is a no-brainer for me. Isn't he like 10 million? I think the deal works out around 10 million because the situation is obviously they've got the buyback clause of 35%. Lisbon value him quite low anyway. 35%. It works out like that, basically. Bergvall didn't join the Swedish under 21 claiming injury. Don't know the seriousness of it. It won't be that serious, Liston, mate. You'll be fine. Villa sniffing for Gallagher. We wanted Bruno Fernandes and get Fernandes. We wanted Willian. Chelsea stole him. We wanted Diaz. Liverpool pinched him. will Levy ever learn, Andy? Let's see. Ask me that question after the window. We'll see. I'll be brutal or I'll be exuberant. There'll be no in between in my eyes. I mean, Gallagher doesn't stop us from getting Eze, possibly a DM, a whole midfield rebuild whilst getting rid of Ndombele, Gio, Højbjerg, and Skip would be class. He wouldn't stop us getting Eze. He wouldn't. But yeah, we do. Well, I don't think whole midfield rebuild's a bit of a big statement. You know, there's some good midfielders at Spurs. I think we need some additions. That's the way I would phrase that. I think Romero would be a nasty 6. Yeah, I just love Romero. You know, the fact that he's world class in a position. I don't want to move him out of that position. I love him at the 4. He also is great at playing through the line, straight through the midfield into the attack, which he wouldn't have as much of a benefit in the 6 role. Would Edwards be beneficial to the team other than as a rotation player with Europe? Well, academy, homegrown. It also can beat a man because he can run past players and he can, dribble past players. And, sometimes we lack that. Do you reckon Eze is determined to join us? I think Eze is determined to get himself a nice, juicy move with a nice, juicy contract this summer. Oh, Rec, that is a terrible attempt to try and troll me, mate. That's terrible. Anyway, right. So there's that on the guys that have left, as well as a little bit on the Gallagher front. Sorry, wanted to add a little bit more to the Tanganga one. Dan Kilpatrick said that Spurs had the option to extend Tanganga's deal, but not take it up. He has a lot of interest after the way he played for Mill in the Championship. And I think he has some interest in the Premier League, Tanganga, which doesn't shock me. Do you know what? As much as I'm sitting there and being like, oh, why are we not doing that? We're wasting money. I actually think it makes a ton of sense, to be honest. I just think it does. So got a bit more to talk about anyway in the meantime. So a little bit on the Jed Spencer Genoa situation. Their CEO, Andres Blázquez, what another great name. He's made a trip to London to hold talks with Spurs to try and get a discount on a permanent Jed Spence transfer. We want to do a discount. I mean, how much of a discount do they want? I think Spurs will take somewhere between 6.5 and 7. They're probably going to want 5. And I think Spurs can get 5 elsewhere, to be honest. I don't think they need to do a deal with Genoa just to get that. They can do that elsewhere. Bentancur, when fully fit, is a very good midfielder, probably the best at the club. Yeah, I love me some Bentancur. You know that. That's all right, Rec, mate. You nearly had me. I was reading it thinking I might read this straight away, but you nearly had me. Some fans are moaning we're having a poor start to the window, even though it hasn't opened yet. Hilarious. I just think fans look at it as like Football Manager, Championship Manager, FIFA, where they can sign a player like that. And it just doesn't exist. I think, look, let's not worry about it just yet. It's June 5th. I expect to make some headway this week, but I'm not expecting a transfer. I'm expecting headway. I think that's fair to ask. And we made headway in sales. I even said last week, I expect to get a headway, even if it's just players out. I expect to make a headway. And 4 leaving, that's pretty much good headway, in my opinion. Hello, Teddy, mate. You're right. Why is Chelsea always linked to players that we are linked to, and they always end up signing? Chelsea are linked to basically anyone. Basically, Chelsea got all these like Brighton scouts and things like that, and then end up signing every player that every other team's linked with. So the scouts are so good, they just open up Twitter and go, Man United want Elise. Right. Todd, Man United want Elise. Yeah, there you go. There's another one. Thanks, mate. All right. Yeah, I'll let you know if you've got anything else. They don't actually know how to do their job. I wonder how much we will get from sales. Heard our budget could be from 110 to 140. No, it'll be more than that, Madsy. It'll be more than that. Work rate like Kante. Loving the vid. Mate. Kante might cover 70% of Earth. I cover 70% of space. We're just not the same, are we? Sass music, Last year, with difficulties getting players out. This year, it's looking a lot better. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? It's not. I think some fans just go players in, players in, players in, players in, players in. And do you know what? You have to get players out at some point. You can't just hoard. That's not the way the market and football works. So I'm actually happy. There's 4. I'm going to go through a list in just a second who else I think has the opportunity to go. I'll probably break it into who I want to go, who I think could go, who may go, if you know what I mean, right? Chelsea is basically me with FM24. Teddy, mate, you and FM24, there's a different breed. Just sign everybody who wants. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Oh, you're interested in that player? Is he any good? Oh, he is. We'll have him. My ideal window: Eze, Tony, Gallagher, Edwards, and Walker Peters. Those two names definitely throw up a few contentious views within a fan base, that's for sure. What would you do about Parrott? Would you sell, extend, and loan? I'm coming to him in just a second. Just want to finish off with this list. So look, Cesc, Tanganga, Perisic, and Dyer, they've all gone. I think the more you can add to this list, in Ndombele, you expect to go, regardless of what the situation is. You expect him to go. You expect Reguilon to go. So we're sitting now on 6. Yeah, 6. Højbjerg, Gio, Emerson, Brian Hill. That's at 10. We're at 10 now, right? And I don't think I've said anyone on that list. Anyone goes, what, we're going to get rid of them? Really? Excuse me. You could add in that Manuel Solomon, Ben Davies, Oliver Skip. So before I've even reached like Eurocharlisons or anything like that, we're at 13. Joe Roden. Who else have we got out? I think that's pretty much everyone. Oh, Jed Spence, 15. I'm at 15. I've not mentioned Richie or anything like that. So look, in terms of who else could go? You obviously we talked about Kulusevski and Napoli yesterday. Conte signed his contract. He's the new man now at Napoli. So there's obviously that potential. Richie, yes, you could add to that list. I don't think he wants to leave. I think Spurs are kind of going, well, let's just see what we got. And yeah, I think that's probably about right. We're not getting rid of like 20 players. Like, as much as, again, we treat it like FIFA and things like that, where, gelling of players doesn't really matter. It does matter in real life football. Let's have a look. If we get a good price for Kulu from Napoli, I'll let him go. Listen, mate, what is that price that you're talking about? I want to know what you're thinking. I think we will get about 6 in, a winger, a striker, midfielder, centre half, and 2 fullbacks. I think it's puts us in a great position. Chris, that's a solid window. Would Tottenham be a 6, or are we getting another player from position? I think they're just looking at quite a few players that are quite similar in that midfield role. Forster, Spence, Emerson, Roden, Reguilon, Davies, Højbjerg, Skip, Gio, Ndombele, Hill, Solomon, and Parrott, and Whiteman too. I don't know about Whiteman. I'm coming to Parrott in a second. Forster, let's see. I don't mind Forster. If Whiteman goes, I don't mind Forster staying as a number 3. No issues with that, because that's good, smart work. I think we should sign Atalanta midfielder, Eze, Tony, Murillo. I'm sure next season will be 6 flame emojis. That's quite a lot. Chris, who's the Atalanta midfielder you're talking about, mate? Let me know. There's so much work to do with this team, but the future is looking bright. Exactly, mate. There's so much work to do in this team. We just need to be patient, because we're not going to get everything done this window or the next. I know it's not needed currently, but I'm really hoping for Trubin from Ukraine. Well, we'll see. He's a goalkeeper, apparently, everyone. We'll see. Keep Richie. Bye, Tony. Which young striker of ours would be a third choice striker for the season? I think Valise will go out on loan. I'm going to come and talk about Parrott in a second, but it could be Scarlett. It could be Lancashire even, If we fail to get a fullback cover for Udogie, I don't know if I would risk Reguilon going. We need a fullback, maybe even Spence if things are not working out, but we need to get a fullback cover. I think Spence will go, and you might as well put me at left back over Reguilon. And I'm right-footed. I wouldn't let Decky go, honestly. Give him a chance. I'm just saying it depends on a price, obviously. Listings just hit me now. 40 million for Kulu would do. It's a small profit. I doubt Napoli will be willing to pay that much, though. See, I don't know if it's a full profit in total, but on the original deal, it is a little bit, yeah. Yes, Plush, Trubin will be a great signing, says EZ. I think that Girona striker will be the best for us right now. What is it? Dovbrek, isn't it? Or something like that. He might be on the list. We don't know. Right. Let's talk about Parrott. So Parrott scored a 92nd minute winner yesterday for Ireland. He got very lucky with the goal. He could have squared it, really. It's one of those ones. He's had a really solid season in the Eredivisie, and people kind of look at it and go, what, 22 goal contributions in the Eredivisie? Really? Yeah, he also played for the 16th best team in that league. He's the only reason why they even had a chance of staying up, right? And people kind of go, well, hang on, why would we go for Jimenez, who's only got like a few more than him? And I do get that, to be fair. It's not to say that Parrott suits Ange's system. I'm not saying he does or doesn't. I'm just saying he may not suit Ange's system. Ange may not like what he sees in terms of his link-up play. You know, there's things that go into this more than we ever know. We sit there and go, he scores goals, let's get him. Doesn't mean it doesn't, it never works like that. For me, those many goals do not represent £5 to £6 million worth of sales. It just doesn't. It's hair on my screen, sorry. He will, I think he deserves a chance in pre-season. And I've said this all along. He deserves a chance in pre-season. If Ange doesn't like what he sees, then you sell him. Because he's 22. He's getting to that part where there's no, he's starting to reach where he should be playing week in, week out. And like I said, if Ange likes what he sees and he develops and shows in pre-season that he's pretty good, let's roll with him into the next year. He'll get minutes. He'll get time. But also, and remember, don't forget, Richarlison misses minutes. He misses time with injury. So the third striker is going to get time. But if Ange isn't keen, give him a couple of games. If Ange isn't liking what he's seeing, move him, sell him, move on, and wash your hands. Awful finish, but Zmodix was offside his entire run. He was. It's poor of the guy, but, I think we should tee up some swap deals. Surely Palace would take some of our... I think Palace may look at... Ooh, I would have said Skip, but Wharton, by the way, what a player. I would have said that, but I don't think he'd be at Palace now. It depends on Mark Guay, because, you got the idea of Joe Rodon, but obviously you still got Anderson there, and Anderson's pretty solid. So I don't know who they would take. I really don't. What about Arun Hickey? He can play on the left and right back, 2-3. I don't know enough about him to tell you. I bought the new kit for my daughter as a graduation gift. She's a big Richie fan, so I had to put his name on it. She is definitely against a transfer for him. I'm not. It's a lovely graduation gift. You're surprised you didn't have to take out a loan for that, Liston. Hey, she likes Richie, and I don't blame her. I like Richie. But also, if someone's going to offer me 50 odd million, I might have a conversation. Cheers, Chris, mate. Thank you for the lovely comment of great content. Occasionally, I make out some all right content. Alejo Veliz will be our starting striker. Oh, he won't be. But he'll be on loan, but he won't be. We should get Lookman. He's got interest from the Premier League. I don't know if Spurs are in that, though, to be honest. Hill as an Elise replacement would definitely not be a massive downgrade. Do you mean for Palace, Madzi? I love seeing Madison as a Decky on a rotational role next season. I don't know about you guys. I'm just not as keen as everyone else as Kulusevski being a 10. I've seen it fail so many times. Against Chelsea, that's a game where Gio should have been playing because he couldn't control the game. The ball would go into him. He made one or two passes in about 45, 50 minutes. I wasn't impressed by it. Would you rather have Isaac for 100 million or Eze Gallagher for 100? I'd probably say Eze Gallagher because I think we can get a striker and do well. I'm not a fan of Kulu, full stop. Well, that's definitive from Daniel. So there's that on Parrott. Right. We need to talk about this because this does affect us. Summer fruit squash, you know the rules. My reading voice. Ooh. So look, Man City are charged with a lot of potential dodgy dealings. It's all, innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not going to say they are guilty or not, okay? Nor should you. But they're also looking to sue the Premier League, right? If you didn't know, they're looking to sue the Premier League. So the Times Sports said that more than half of the Premier League clubs have sided with the Premier League against Man City ahead of arbitration hearing next week, which is centered around the APT rules, which prevent clubs inflating commercial deals with companies linked to their owners. Now, I wonder what teams may want to support. Not the Premier League, but Man City. I'm going to leave that one there in the stratosphere. I know that you will have their idea for that one. The key thing to this is Man City are acting as victims. They believe, the Premier League are this dictatorship and they're dictating their rules. And I saw someone put a very funny comment that said, "Okay, let's think of it like this: you're on a road, you're driving, it's a 50 miles per hour road, and you're driving in, just your normal car, 50 miles per hour. Man City are doing the same. Then Man City go and get an F1 car, drive at 200 miles per hour, and then complain that they have to follow the same rules." Now, I think that's a little bit extreme, but I get where they're coming from. The issue, the issue of this is Man City, I believe, are deflecting potentially. I think there's stuff that you and I do not know about, but it impacts the Premier League massively. You know, Pep going is in a year. Does he know something? Because a lot of this happened before Pep arrived. By the way, like some happened whilst he was there, but a lot happened way before. Does he know something? Haaland saying, "Well, I've had 2 years of my deal. We've got 3 years left. That's all I'm saying." Do they think they know something? This is massive stuff. This is very, very massive, massive for the Premier League. This is relegation from the Premier League, which is annoying because Spurs normally do quite well against Man City. So we pick up some good points. And we normally lose to the lower league teams. This is bad for us. No, I'm joking. But this is massive for the Premier League. And I wanted to kind of just get your opinions on it. I wanted to have a bit of a chat about it. And I just want to think about the ramifications of what this could all look like, what it could look like for us, what it could look like for the rest of the league. I mean, you're talking a situation, if Man City weren't in the league last year, we've got Champions League football. So it's quite massive, if you know what I mean. Arsenal win the league, Liverpool finish second, Villa go third, we go fourth. And in turn, Chelsea still get the Europa League football, and Newcastle get Conference League. It's massive. But the issue that I also think is if you have a relegation of Man City, well, you can't expect them to follow FFP rules like the Championship clubs because, I mean, to get that many players off the books, you're still going to have to pay off wages and things like that. It's just not going to happen. Not even if Saudi come in, they can't save them. So this is why I think it's such a drawn-out process that I could still see it happening into next year, well into next year. Let's have a look. Sorry, I've missed some stuff. If we can get Gallagher, why not Atlanta midfielder DM Edison Eze to compete for the number 10 role? I will like if they can get Tony for his number 9 and maybe another winger. Not bad, Chris. Not bad. Kulu is too slow. He feels quite bumbly, if you know what I mean. Stumbles over his own feet sometimes. They're guilty as hell. Lynch out there. Wow. He's very 1 foot dominant. Yeah, he says he's got a really good right foot, but we just never see him use it. The fact that they are taking the Premier League to court over rules they agreed to says they're guilty as hell. Well, it definitely looks a bit dodgy, is all I'd say. If Pep leaves City, we'll become a championship team. Van Gogh out there throwing out haymakers. I'm in Zambia right now. Oh, Chris in Zambia. How can I get the link to be live with you in live video? That Chris, I'd have to allow you to have. I haven't allowed anyone to have that yet. But when City get relegated, they still own a lot of their players, right? Yeah, but I think they'd end up having to sell a lot and things like that. Pep will probably be under strict NDA, so we probably won't chat about it for another 2. Yeah, most managers aren't allowed to chat about all the stuff that's going on at their clubs for 3 years. I think even Ole from Manchester United, he didn't talk about Man United for a while. Relegate Wolves. Philip just straight out of there, just going, relegate Wolves. Philip, I think you might have a bit of vendetta against Wolves, to be honest, mate. Kulu was good as a striker the last 2 games. Yeah, I just don't think it's enough of a sample size wreck. If Spurs didn't exist, who would you support? Me would be Liverpool. Oh, mate, I don't know. I've got a soft spot for teams. Like I do like, I like Plymouth, for example. I do like Plymouth. I've got a soft spot for I don't mind teams like, Fulham and Brentford and things like that. I don't mind them at all. I quite like Malaga. As well. That's because my friend likes Malaga, so I kind of like them in turn a little bit. But I'd probably set up, give me Plymouth for now. Up the Green Army. Rooney's in charge. Title charge inbound. If Man City win the case, does that mean they could take over the Premier League? I think it could mean. Genuinely, if they won cases and got away with this, we might as well pack up. We might as well move the Premier League headquarters into the Etihad. It looks like City are crying because they aren't allowed to put as much of their own money into the club as they want via sponsorship. Is there an argument? Well, they have this thing that they say sponsorship should be deemed however much that sponsorship wants to give you. So if they want to give you 10 billion for the year, they should be able to give you 10 billion for the year, which, if it was the case that Newcastle would win the league next year, that's all I would say, because they got a hell of a lot more money than everyone else. We wouldn't have to have overinflate numbers. Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't done that. I'd be a glory hunter probably. Yeah, of course you would, Van Gogh. Cut your ear off and then you end up supporting Real Madrid or something. Man City lawyers will have this title for a couple of years, where they're trying to make it so difficult for the Premier League that's what they're trying to do, basically. I think that a City wouldn't try to go to court against the Prem. They could have just paid the Prem to do nothing, but I like that they've destroyed all relationships. Yeah, they've acted like, well, they've kind of made it out that the Premier Leagues and the cartel. Can you believe this? The cartel's out to get them. Ironically, that's what teams that that are lower down in the league talk about, the top six. So Man City, you're a part of the cartel. The cartel's not out to get you when you're a part of it. I don't get where that came from personally. If Spurs didn't exist, then I do have a soft spot for Liverpool due to their song "You Never Walk Alone." There's a lot of teams that sing that, mate. I got a soft spot for Newcastle since Gaza played for them. Gaza made his Spurs fan after the World Cup in 1990. Gaza, that podcast that Lineker, Shearer, and Richards do, Gaza's on it, by the way. He looks quite healthy. He sounds actually quite healthy, and he's got some belter stories. Check out the one about the ostrich. Go and watch it. It's unbelievable. I was laughing my head off at it. Also, the overlap, by the way, about Roy Keane talk about Man United masseuses. That was incredible. Like 8 minutes in, I'm already laughing my head off, and he just goes off on one. It was, someone said Roy Keane could get an argument in a phone box. He absolutely could. Osimhen or Isaac? Jacob, I'll have both. How about that? I'll be greedy. Both. Right, I want to put a I forgot to do this earlier. I want to do this. That's for Gallagher. I just want to get an opinion on that because I forgot to do it earlier. So apologies. I've actually made the live. Good to see you, Annie. Good to see you, Philip, mate. Very good to see you. How are you, Philip? You all right, mate? I hope the day is treating you well. You're looking after yourself. All right. And I'll have a quick sip of my summer fruit squash while I look at that. How about 40? Well, Teddy, I'm just going off the idea that they want 50 and above. This is what Chelsea want. They want excess of 50. So I just want to get an idea as to what you guys think. And then I can kind of give a take afterwards really quickly. And then I've got a couple more polls to put in. Oh, Philip, mate, the summer fruit squash is incredible. I love me some summer fruit squash, mate. I really do. Really, really do. 50 is way too much. Don't want to help Chelsea. Right. So a third says yes and 2/3 says no. Need Conte to come in and buy some players for over the top money. We do. 50 million is far too much for Gallagher. 35 to 40 max. I'd say even 30 to 35, Alex. But I get where you're coming from, mate. Gallagher is not a 50 million pound player. I don't think Chelsea have the leverage in this situation. Rather play 70 for Gray. I would do Gallagher 50 million plus a bag of ready salted crisps. Ooh, that's a bad choice in crisps. You must really dislike Chelsea. Not glute day. No, it was back and buys. Rather spend a bulk of 50 on Gray. Okay. Right, I'm going to end it there because I've got another poll to start off with. Yeah, CDC, I did say that Gallagher wants to make a decision towards the end of June. Right, next poll. This is going to be a really fun one. All right. Right, here we go. Putting this one up. This is going to be an interesting one. Surely salt and vinegar not ready salted. Yeah, they might have some cuts in their mouth and that might hurt. So, sorry, I meant which one do you think is better? Arsenal linked with both, and I personally think Isaac will make a bigger difference. I'd probably say yes. I think Osimhen has that more like that world-class upside, but I think Isaac's just brilliant. Would line to parrot to Bundesliga. Gallagher going Malaga. Malaga can't afford anyone. I was there last year. I got off, and about a week later, they'd been relegated to like the third division, right? And they hadn't signed anyone, and they picked out a random person coming out of the airport and pretended they'd signed them. You know, the scarves, the shirts, all of it. They should have picked me. I'll come play. I'll come play. Give him a chance in preseason. Depends really. I say we give him a preseason. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave that on for another minute before I make my decision on that. Assuming he qualifies. Well, you know. Right. I tell you what, this is tasty. One more minute for the poll. If you haven't voted, there's a poll. Have a quick vote. Send Scarlett out on loan and have Parrott as backup. Okay. Okay, Alex. I see you. I see you. This poll is this is tight, this poll. This is quite impressive. This is the best poll so far. Right. I'm gonna end it there. 54% says no. Interesting. Okay. Right. I'm going to use Alex's one actually a little bit. Thanks, Alex, for you because I'm stealing for that. Right. So this is for first team usage next year. There's another poll. I'm keen on this one. This is a great one from Alex. Alex made a point, and I actually wanted to steal it. So shout out Alex on that front. Because I am keen. For an extra 10 to 15, we can get Eze. Yeah. We can't spend 50 million to a player's 1 year after his contract. I think 30 to 35 is enough. Yeah, agree, Chris. Ignore Parrott's injury problems. When he's a third choice striker, I don't have to ignore it as much. The Netherlands and know the Dutch league well. Parrott, his performances would not translate to him. He needs another loan if Spurs want to keep him. Interesting, Rec. Interesting. Parrott has at least proven himself in the Eredivisie with a bad side. He has done that. And I think there's other loans where it's not gone as well. Another minute for that poll, although Parrott is now winning it. Interesting. I've got one more on Parrott because we don't often talk about these things. I'm keen on these. And obviously, if you're watching this and I'm not live, apologies on the poll front. We're talking about Dane Scarlett or Troy Parrott being with the first team squad. Parrott is cooking. Lustful, what's he cooking? I'm quite hungry. What's he cooking? I'm going to end it there. And my last one on Parrott. Okay. So Parrott. And this is interesting because I'm keen to know what you guys think of that. And this is for first team squad next year, by the way. This one, okay? So go and vote on that. Sometimes they're going to, yeah, they can go. They're going to play as well as the team around them. Yeah, I agree on that one, Lex. How are you, mate? I really wants to sign Williams to say Nico. You mean Nico, not Anarchy, yeah? Edwards or Walker Peters for homegrown? I'll probably say Edwards because he's cheaper. Yes, I want Nico. Yeah, Nico's a shout. Parrott needs to show his performances at a bigger club. Yeah, fair enough. Valise has no experience. Neither. Paul. Valise, even though he hasn't had the best of seasons, it's not been his fault. Sevilla were luring us and Valise in with these promises of game time. And then their manager, who's in a bit of a tussle with the higher ups, didn't play him or Hannibal Mabry as a way of sticking it to the higher ups, basically. Kiko Sanchez Flores. I'll leave Parrott on loan and see if he can stay fit for another season. It was Sevilla manager. He's crazy. Right. Valise wins. So by that merit, you would all prefer Valise to stay with the first team and Parrott to go out, at least on loan, as well as Scarlett. Fascinating. I'm keen on these sort of Q&As. I'm glad I've bloody learned how to do them finally. That's interesting. Right. So a quick look. I just want to see if Man City decided to sue Spurs or anyone like that, just because of what's going on. Man City, no, honestly, Man City chairman is just bonkers, isn't he? He's absolutely bonkers. Yeah, don't think there's too much more to talk about. I'll answer a few more questions for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to head off. There'll be another live later at about 7 p.m. UK time as well, by the way. I'm probably just going to start doing lives over actual videos. I think I can answer your questions a little bit quicker. It means, I'm not always on my phone checking to see if people have commented and things like that. Because it's nice to have it. Feels like a conversation that we're having. Most of Parrott's goals are against second divisions and degradation sides. Good Lord, what's a degradation side? Would you mean a relegation side? I see potential of Leeds. He's really ambitious. I see potential in Leeds. He has scored in the Premier League. Let's not forget that. It was a ropey goal, but he scored it. I like Leeds. I think he could probably do with a few extra pounds of muscle. Come see me. That's what I teach people to do. I think Veliz will go on loan. I think Scarlett might go on loan. Parrott may stay, but it'll be between Parrott and Scarlett, in my opinion. Madders, Eze in the 10, Gallagher in the 8, and Sarr in the 6. Could that work? Well, you probably find Bentancur will be more of a 6 than Sarr. I think Sarr and Gallagher would be your 8s, Bentancur and Basuma maybe as your 6s in that situation. Just before anyone goes, no, we have to sign 6, just in Madsy's situation. I'm enjoying these streams. Keep them going. Cheers, Alex, mate. I really appreciate that. Lovely comment. Bloody love those comments. Alex, I hope you're having a great day. Can Gallagher play in the 6? Maybe not as well as what we have. I think he's much more suited to that 8 role. Much more suited. Being able to press high, press to all corners of the pitch, quite physical in that regard. He's much more suited to the 8 than it would be the 6. Just sell all 12 and give a chance to the under 21s. We've got to have a few oldies in the squad, mate. You've got to have a few oldies in Spurs football. Can't get rid of all of them. I'm 28. Would you say I'm past my prime? I hope not. I'm holding on to my youth as much as I can. I am trying. Feliz in a couple of seasons. Lancashire, well, maybe he will be a talk of football if he gets a good loan. Yeah, I hope. Well, the Lancashire one, obviously, we talked about Lancashire, I think it was a few weeks ago, that he was linked to Middlesbrough on loan. And I don't hate the idea of loaning out Lancashire next season to a championship side. Championship's a really good place to loan your players. It's a gold mine of players that you can get. I mean, look at Adam Wharton right now. We talk about Eberich Eze came from the championship. So championship is a good place for players to learn their craft and hone their craft, but also even for players that we could see that we quite like. That's why we talk about Archie Gray. We're talking about Joe Bellingham, the players that are sort of having a good time in the championship. The idea is you would integrate them into a first team that is, quite positive, quite a good change room, and let them develop within the team. It's how Dele Alli works, So there's that. Right, I think that's everything for this video, guys. I will be back at 7 to talk some more transfers. Obviously, if you are watching this and I'm not live, you can still comment and like and all those things. I will still respond if possible. Veliz was really unlucky. Veliz will get a loan. Don't you worry, Van Gogh. I look forward to seeing you all around for 7, hopefully. And enjoy the rest of your day. It's sunny outside, so make sure you get some sun if you can. And I'll see you all at 7. Take care, guys.